Okay. So we are live officially here with episode 1 at the Breeders Playbook. It's your boy Reese with House of Reps. And today we got a pretty cool guest. You might know him from Tikis Geckos. It's your boy David. And we're going to talk to him about his journey diving back into leopard geckos and getting deeper into it. So let's go ahead and bring him on. What up, man?
What's up, Reese? Thanks for
Sure.
having me, brother.
Now, thanks for being here, bro. Episode 1, starting with a banger, such as yourself. So appreciate it, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I can't wait. It's been leopard geckos has been exciting for me again, so I definitely love talking about them.
Nah, yeah, it's good. I'm always talking about them, man. So is how's your like season been going? Have you been started breeding yet, or you just got that collection?
No, so I've been acquiring a bunch of different leopard geckos throughout 2025. I think as early as like probably April. Throughout the whole year, I've been just getting geckos. So most of these are like growing out. A lot of them are not even ready to breed yet. I want them to be at least a year old.
Okay.
And well, like the females and stuff. And but yeah, some of them are already ovulating, so I've been pairing up some nice bells, some tangerines, and black knights.
Hey, you like bells? Okay. I saw you get some of the Hell's bells. I'm a big bell fan,
Yeah,
so we'll get
yeah,
into
yeah,
that
yeah. How
for
can you
sure.
not? I mean, dude,
Man,
the
they're
the
underrated
stuff.
and have lots of potential. So for me, that's why I love them. I love it, all of them, but bells for
Yeah,
sure. Trying to
yeah,
be part of that growth on them. So that's gonna be dope. But
yeah.
really quickly, if you just want to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself. I'm sure everybody knows who you are for the most part. But for those just joining my channel, since it's new, stuff like that, if you just give a little intro for yourself.
Yeah, so my name's David. I own Tiki's Geckos. We've been specializing in breeding mostly New Caledonian geckos, blue tongue skinks, and a wide variety of different lizards and other reptiles. And I have bred leopard geckos in the past. I want to say maybe like 8 years ago or something. But and I've always kept them and sold them, but I wasn't doing it to like push the envelope. I wasn't doing it to refine each morph. Now I'm getting back into it. I'm like really enjoying all the morphs. I understand the morphs a lot more. I understand the lines. So that's what I think sparked my love for them again. And it's been fun, man. I mean, looking at all these animals, I go in there at night, just open up racks and just,
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. So it's been fun.
Oh yeah, man. So like you said, you've been doing this a long time. I remember those
Yeah.
videos where you didn't even have a little hair on your chinny chin chin, and now
Yeah.
you got a full strap going on, dude. So you've been here for a minute. That's pretty dope. How do you keep up with
Yeah.
all that, dude? Because I mean, I know you got a team, but you do got a
Yeah.
lot going on. So
Yeah. I've been doing Tiki's Gecko started when I was back in high school. So like 2011 ish. And, but I started doing it full time. I want to say maybe like, I don't know, maybe like 7 years ago, 6 years ago.
nice.
And I think when I made that decision, when I was like, okay, this is all I'm going to do, I'm going to make it happen, I'm going to make it work. And my team started to grow. It just like, you know, it's never easy. It's always going to be challenging. But whenever you put, I mean, like, I really think that if you just try your best and you just do what you're supposed to do, things will work themselves out. So it could be hard at times, but that's the life we chose. So
That is pretty true, man. If you just don't think about the stress part of it and just keep going, it works out eventually. I think the stress
yeah.
kills people when they hold on to it too much and it drags them down. Because I get a lot of
And you're
people
gonna
ask how you feed and budget, and I was like, I don't think about none of that, dude. I just pay for it, feed them, and that's it. Because that's what I have to do. So
you're
you
gonna
start
you're
thinking about the
gonna be
budget, that
stressed.
messes you up.
Yeah, you're gonna be stressed whether you're doing what you love or doing what you hate. So I mean, it's a no-brainer for me.
Nah, facts. Well, let's dive into it, man. So you started with geckos. Now you're digging deeper. You said you're starting to understand morphs a little bit, which is kind
Yeah.
of funny because when I started, I did cresteds just for income to do Leos, and I never
Yeah.
understood the crested morphs. Like I couldn't understand it for nothing. I still don't. to this day. So that's why I just focus on Leos now. I kind of sold off on my cresters last year. Matter of fact, to
Yeah.
Infamous Exotics, your boy Angel there. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I sold him the rest of my cresters last year a while back when he wanted to get in.
Nice.
Um, but we're here for Leos. So yeah, what about the Leos was drawing you back into it? What was that like? Because you've been around, you've been in the game, you've seen them, you go to expos. I know you've seen them forever. So
Yeah.
what was that moment where it's like, you know what, I'm gonna dive into this now. Like this is gonna go for me now.
Yeah, you know what? I For me it's always been the tangerines. I just love the orange on animals, on any lizard, on any reptile. So I always I kind of had them in my peripheral all this time. So I'm kind of like looking, but I was like I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna drop some money on them yet. I was just like doing my own thing with the all the geckos. So I think what did it was like I was just I'm like I have all the leopard gecko books from Ron Tremper and everything, and I've just had them. Like I've always had them, and the one that's like about morphs. One day I'm just like going through it, and I'm like I'm just bored, so I just started like reading,
Yeah,
and going through all the morphs, and then one thing leads to another. Then I start following a bunch of Instagram pages rep of leopard gecko people and breeders and stuff, and I'm like liking this, liking that, and then I'm like, okay, what is this? So I go to the book and I like cross reference, then I Google like it, and it takes me into this like rabbit hole, into this web of like all these different morphs and combos. And then you know something that turned me off personally a while back was like I would see like tangerine tornadoes, mandarins, all these things. And for the most part in the crested gecko world, there's not people don't name their lines like as much as leopard gecko, like not nowhere near as much. So
yeah,
I was confused. I thought there were different morphs. Like I thought it was a different thing altogether. But
yeah.
in my
Just
mind, I
different.
was like, yeah, but in my mind, I was like, that's the same thing. Like I can't tell the difference. So because I couldn't tell the difference, and it looked the same to me, I was like, I can't, I don't understand it. But then I started learning, oh, it's just, it's the same thing but bred from different people, different lines and all that. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And I
Yeah,
started
different
to
color
figure
centers.
out that every leopard gecko breeder has their own line. So
For the most
um
part, it's getting there. Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, once I started to understand it, it made more sense, and it was fun for me.
It definitely takes some time to understand for sure. Because when I was first
Yeah,
doing it, man, I was like, it's all the same. What do you mean? There's 40
yeah,
tangerine. It's tangerine. Like, what do you mean? So it did get
yeah,
confusing, but as you grow, and which you were ahead of that already, but for me, it was all brand new. So as you grow, I started to understand it more and more each time. And then when you start asking those questions, and they're like, yeah, yeah, you're like, oh, I'm getting it. All right, cool. So yeah,
yeah.
so you really like tangerine stuff, which that makes sense, man. Tangerine, amongst other animals, isn't very popular or seen too much, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
dude.
think
I
of
mean,
the orange
and
lizard.
leopard geckos have been bred for so many generations that the tangerines that we're getting, the oranges, are just like ridiculous. So that's why it's just like so eye catching.
You saw what Angel said. He said you saw his stuff, and that's what made you do it.
No, I'm not looking at the comments, but yeah, he has some nice bold stuff too.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. I like messing with him. That's one of the homies, so I like messing with him. But all right, man.
That's fun.
So getting in there, you like the tangerines and stuff. What is it like with your projects? What are your goals with some of your projects? Because I saw your video. Most people, if you haven't seen his video, check it out on his page where he talks about his collection and projects. But that was kind of surface level a little bit. If you could go in a little bit more detail on some of them, like not all of them, but ones that you're very concerned about or more important for you. Like, what is the goal for some of them, and like what are you trying to enhance? Because
Yeah,
a lot of people get stuff, just pair them up and make the same thing. But like,
yeah.
do you have goals in mind now that you're understanding lines and stuff?
Yeah, so well, it obviously depends on the phenotype of the animal. For example, I have certain tangerines that I want to make. like pure, as like just breed tangerine tornado to tangerine tornado, and then I have other tangerine groups that are just like I just want the deepest red orange on those animals, with the most carrot tail. I think that's like the most common goal for anybody that breeds tangerines. But so I don't personally for those, I don't care about keeping the lines pure on some of those groups. I will put, as long as it's like the best thing I could get with the other best thing I could get as far as tangerines go. Obviously not mixing any of the albinos or anything, just not no het, tangerines. Um and just trying to make the boldest color that lasts the longest with the tangerines. Now I have a couple of bold stripe projects. With my bold stripes, I want to make a really high contrast yellow base with the just like the extreme molds have like that really thick black striping. I want that down the sides in almost like parallel perfect pattern,
Okay.
for one of my bold projects. And what else? Obviously with the
Good.
Black Knights. Yes, yeah, like perfect, exactly. Parallel and as bold as could be. Yep, that's nice.
That one's had
With the
rainwater though. So,
Okay.
yeah.
You know what? With the rainwaters, that's like the only albino I don't have right now. And I did hear that they're not as light sensitive as the bells and the trempers. Do you have any insight on that?
A little bit. Mostly yes and no. It all depends on the light, kind of. You know what I mean? Like if you go outside with them, they're not going to close it too much. But with like
Yeah.
the trumpers and bells, they'll kind of close their eyes a little bit more. Just depends on how
Yeah.
bright that light really is. So, but yeah, they are a little bit less sensitive, I would say, especially with
Okay.
the blue amber eye involved. Not so much of like just the albino eye, which is what I
Yeah.
work with. So I don't have too many like not like albinos without the blue amber eye. So
Yeah.
I'm a little different. I don't have too much info on that because all my rainwater stuff has blue amber eye, so it keeps the eye darker and blue, which is less
Mm.
light sensitive than what just a normal rainwater would be.
Oh,
So
that's dope. So it doesn't turn it red with the albino?
nah, that's why I like it. It keeps it the blue amber and dark. So that's why
That's
it's
dope.
one of my favorites. Yeah, compared to other eye genes that they always change with the albino, but not that one. So it's
That
been one.
that's one of the newer that's one of the newer Morse that has come out in the last couple of
Uh,
years, right?
yeah. It's one of the last ones Ron Tremper put out before he retired. It's one of the
Yeah.
last projects. So
Nice.
it's pretty cool.
That's dope.
So,
Yeah. I
so
haven't
you
I
just
haven't
been
even
looking
seen
at.
one in person yet.
Well, guess what? I'm moving to Florida, so I'll catch you at an expo soon, and probably see one on my table then, because I'm gonna be
There
down
you
there
go.
following all you guys.
Sounds good. Where are you moving to?
Probably around Tampa, opening a franchise for the reptile education birthdays I do. So I'll be
Oh,
doing
okay.
that in the area, so I can bother Bayside a little bit more.
Oh, dope. Nice.
All right, all right. So I wanted to ask you this too, since you have been here for a while.
Yeah.
What has changed from Leo's when you saw him back then to now, and for you, for your perspective of it? You know, because everybody has a
So
different perspective. You know, when they what they went through. So, what was your like old school view of it from shows and stuff back then to kind of what's going on now?
yeah, what I notice is that a lot of like, for example, like the Red Diamonds, they weren't around back then. Maybe they
Hmm.
were, but they weren't anywhere nearly as popular. I'm not sure exactly when they started getting popular, but I never even heard of a Red Diamond until I hopped back in. And so it's with the leopard geckos, I think that a lot of times when a breeder starts to focus on really line breeding or selectively breeding for a particular look,
Hmm.
and for whatever reason that look and that name just pops, it kind of gives like new life to the leopard gecko world. And I that's what I've noticed in the couple years that I've been around, is that back then I remember the tangelos were popular, the tangelos, and then right now it's kind of hard to find tangelos, but the red diamonds you can find everywhere.
Yeah,
And
Tango is like an old school line. It's kind of declining a little bit.
yeah,
Sure, there's some breeders that are keeping it going, but you got to find them.
yeah, it's not easy. If you go on Morph Market, you put red diamond, you'll probably see like 100
Right.
red diamond leopard geckos, but you put tangelo, you might see one or two. So I
Yeah,
think that even within the same, like Tramper albino, the same morph or bell albino or whatever it is,
yeah,
there is like some rejuvenation that happens when a new breeder comes in and like puts his own like artistic
yeah.
uh you know spin on the morph, and it just brings new life into the hobby. And I think it's good. I know some people get mad that so many breeders want to name their own stuff, and I get the frustration because if it's like a brand new breed, like if I were to be like tomorrow, oh, Tiki's Tangerines this is a different line, I get people would be mad at me. I
Well, I
would be
heard
mad
you
at
were
me.
working on the tricolor. What's up with that?
So yeah, I mean, I think you have to have several generations before you could call it a line. But I think it is, in a sense, it's good for the hobby because it does catch the attention of a lot of hobbyists. It does catch the attention of a lot of the common, people that keep leopard geckos,
Yeah,
and that brings in new life. And sometimes that, for whatever reason, the Bay name or Blue Eyed Ember, like that might attract somebody, and then,
yeah.
oh, that sounds pretty cool. What is that? And then they look at it, they like it, and then they start like me. I originally, bro, when I first said I'm gonna get a couple leopard geckos, I'm like, I'm gonna get one group of black knights, two groups of tangerines, and I'm gonna
Hmm.
call it a day. Bro, I have every fucking morph under the sun now. Sorry, I don't know. I'm supposed
Oh,
to
you're good.
curse, but I have so many morphs now. And I originally started with, I said I was gonna do black knights and tangerines, and that's it. Because I'm like, those are the ones I really like, and those are the ones that sell the best. But now I have so many. So
So
it's like
with
it's like
that,
a drug,
did
man.
you- no, it is. Did you ever think about getting into Black Knight Mandarins? Just mixing the two together, calling it a day.
I do have some. I have one. Well, I I have one male that is from Brett at Bayside. That is it is a Bengal to a Black Knight Mandarin. So
Yeah,
it's like,
it's a nice
and
cross.
funny, yeah, it's like it's not quite, it doesn't look like a Black Knight Mandarin, but it does have like a darker orange, and it almost looks like, hard to explain, like the orange is on the bottom and then there's like a little bit of speckling of dark on top.
Yeah, no, I
um
totally get it. The little overlay of color. Yeah,
yeah, so it's interesting. But you know what, the Black Mandarins I'm not super into, like I like the super black or the super orange, not necessarily like in the middle.
yeah. So I saw one video of you, and I'm kind of a smart aleck already. So, you had posted the Black Knight. You were talking about your Black Knight groups, and you were saying that you wanted to make them darker, and that was your goal. And in my head, I was
Yeah.
like, "What are you talking about, dude? Black is black. How much blacker can you get?" So I'm curious, like, what's your goal with that? Like, it's just pitch black, or you know what I
Pitch
mean?
black.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, the
pretty.
pitch black. I love the pitch black animals. I have some that are just, that they're dark. Like if you see them in a certain picture, you see them and
Hmm.
they're like just completely black. But if you take it under the sun and you're kind of looking at it, you can see some pattern. And then I
Yeah,
have some that you take it in the sun, you take any picture, you're not seeing any pattern whatsoever. Those are the
nice.
ones I want to make.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to grab one from you because I'm having no luck on a male. So make me a male next year so I can grab one.
I gotcha. I gotcha.
Okay, dope, man. So you like these tangerines and dark stuff. So it seems like you're gonna be on a melanistic path at some point, huh? Maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. The I have a Black Knight group that's growing up, but the group that will be breeding soon is, I should say, melanistics there, because the male is not none of them are pure Black Knights,
Yeah.
which I honestly rather have not pure, because from my understanding the pure Black Knights can be a little bit smaller, they could grow a little slower, they could have a little bit more like,
Yeah, just those inbreeding issues that come with it.
yeah.
just depending. So I was actually going to ask
Yes.
if you can compare that. Does that happen a lot with gargoyles and cresteds too, with the inbreeding and stuff of your lines?
So I have definitely seen gargoyle geckos and crested geckos that will stay smaller, and that is from like, line breeding and stuff.
Okay.
But the fertility isn't really an issue right now. At least I haven't seen it.
Hmm.
Of course, you'll have your odd gecko that
Yeah, yeah,
doesn't
random
produce
stuff.
as
Yeah,
much, but it's not like there's like a line of geckos that produce like really
consistent
crappy.
issue. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I know it will get there if people keep breeding just for color, you know? And in the crested gecko and gargoyle gecko like world, it's
Mhm.
not as common to line breed like generation after generation back to each other. People like to outcross a little bit more. So I think that's what's kept it like a little bit
That's
better.
cool.
But if people just focus on breeding for color or pattern or whatever, and they don't take in consideration the rest of the animal, then that's going to happen eventually.
I actually did notice that with your last, like the Tampax video, I think you did. You were talking about how you're taking one to a completely different one that just kind of looks similar. So you
Yeah.
know what? That is kind of how I breed with some stuff too. I try to take similar phenotypes, but they're unrelated, and just kind of work
Yeah.
that way versus like just taking the same group back to back to back, and
Yeah.
refining it that way. I try to like do the crosses. Then when we get to a point there, then kind of line breed from there, and then see what happens from there. I try to mix it up with both,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. You got to outcross. You got to.
always outcross is king, dude. Outcross is king.
Yeah.
And speaking of outcrossing, we talked about a little bit. You talked about the pure. So I'm just gonna little PSA. Nothing is pure. You know what I mean? Especially in leopard geckos, nothing is pure. So what's your take on the pure situation? Because you said you want to make some pure line, which that makes sense if you understand what pure line means and pure
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
animal. So a lot of people don't. So we're telling you now, nothing is pure. It's just a
Yeah.
pure line. Okay.
Right, right, exactly. Because those people that made that line had to get stuff from
From
or
everywhere
from
else.
other
Yeah.
places to make their stuff better. But yeah, I think the reason why I want to make pure like tangerine tornadoes is because I like I like all tangerines, but I started getting a couple of those, and I know that some people out there that buy leopard geckos do want some of those pure
Pure
like
line. And
lines,
yeah.
but and the ones I have actually match up really well where they're super bright orange on top, and they almost have like, how white and yellows kind of have like a separation of white in the bottom and then on top is the color.
Yep.
So these tangerine tornadoes I have are both similar where it's not as the white is not as high, but they have like a white jaw and the whole belly is white,
Okay.
and the top is just like super bright orange.
So it's like a
So I was
cleaner
like,
separation between
yeah,
the two.
yes, yes, yes. Because I have some other tangerines that the orange creeps into their stomach and into their
Yeah.
bottom jaw and their bottom over here. So I thought like, oh, that's cool. Like these kind of like match. So I'm like, these are both tangerine tornadoes. So like from always been bred to tangerine tornadoes, whatever, from different people. And I'm like, I'm gonna put these together. And then, but my, you know, my breeder mind is like, I have my main objective with like the tangerines or whatever is to make the brightest tangerines. So I don't care if it comes from a mandarin, a tangerine tornado, inferno, whatever. Like I want just to get the best of the best from everywhere I could find it and put them together and try to make the best geckos. Obviously, as long as they're not like Tremper and Bell or Het Tremper, Het Bell, whatever, I'm not gonna mix that up. But if they're non-hets, or if they're both like possible het trempers, then I'm putting them together.
So I wanted to ask you, so you just kind of reminded me right there. With the gargoyles and cresteds, I don't hear a lot about people like test breeding for stuff. Are you gonna be like test breeding your collection with certain things, even though, because yeah, we get from people that we trust and we want to trust them, but accidents happen at times. The biggest breeders make mistakes at times too. It's not a big deal, but definitely can mess up a project if you end up popping something out. So, is
Yeah.
that like an issue for you guys? Like, are you going to be able to test breed like compared to like
So
cresteds?
you know what? To be honest, I didn't it wasn't even in my mind. And then Infamous brought it up. He was like, and Brett, because I had a couple geckos from a breeder, and they're like, you might want to test breed those, and I'm like, okay. Like now I'm like, I didn't even like, because in the crested gecko world, gargle gecko world, especially gargle geckos, that's not a thing. We don't have a bunch of heads and
That's what I
stuff.
figured. I never heard of it anything like that except for Leos
Yeah.
and
So
snakes.
with the crested geckos, we're we're like on the cliff, and we're about to fall off that cliff, and people don't even realize it because
What?
there's a couple allelic genes that are all so similar that people deliberately breed together sometimes. And then, when you have the super version of those animals that is half sable, half cappuccino, and then
Mhm.
you produce a bunch of animals, you're not going to know which is a sable, which is a cappuccino, because the super form, the allelic super form of both looks, it looks a certain way, but the single gene version of that, it's very, 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 very similar to the point that is indistinguishable when you breed it to certain things. So that's going to be an issue that people, because that's never been a problem with crested geckos, because we don't have albinos, we don't really have as much het stuff, or we're just getting all these new genes with the crested geckos, so
I think
people aren't.
isn't
Yeah,
Phantom like a recessive in cresteds?
yeah,
I
yeah,
was
phantom.
hearing that at the table. Somebody told me when I was like, "Yeah, this is a phantom crested." They're like, "Are these the babies?" I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "So those are het phantom." I was like, "You just taught me something, dude." Shoot.
Yeah, yeah. So that phantom is recessive, but there's nothing else that it could get muddied up with,
Gotcha.
like,
Yeah. It's more,
obviously an albino, like with the leopard geckos, if you breed albino to albino and you keep breeding those back together, you're gonna pop up stuff that you don't know if it's Bell or if it's Tremper. There's no way to tell. And
yeah.
it's the same thing with like the cappuccinos and the sables and the highways with the crested geckos. Um, so what the crested gecko world is in. I kind of foresaw this because I'm into
Yeah.
leopard geckos, but the crested gecko people are still not getting it yet.
Well, that's why we got you, man. Keep poking their heads until they get it.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's
Yeah, it's
cool.
gonna
So you
have cause
definitely,
problems.
so you are going to be test breeding some stuff, and that's cool. That's what's up,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah. I have to. Yeah.
No, for sure. Especially while we're on camera. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But no, man. So shoot, now with Leos, I mean, you've been doing this for a long time, man. You guys are always relevant. I see you at the shows, see your content, stuff like that. Do you plan any of this stuff out, or do you just wing it all the time? You know what I mean? Like just staying relevant with content and making things up, and coming up with your topics and ideas. Is that
No,
something
no,
you plan,
you.
or just wing it?
No, I don't. I don't wing it. I might wing some things, but not. There's no way I could wing all of this stuff. There's a lot of plannings to certain things, like videos I plan. Um, even some of the short form content, I plan to a degree. And I'm not saying it takes 10 day or
Yeah,
10 weeks or whatever to plan a freaking Instagram reel, but I'm to the point that I want to put out content that is like worthy, I guess. So,
yeah. How I
I'm
put
not
it,
winging it as much these days.
has to be like for me, has to have some type of rewatch value, has to have some type of repeat value. If I want to make
Yeah.
good content, like the short stuff and real stuff, like yeah, that's whatever. But any videos I do, I feel like they have to have some type of rewatch value. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what, bro? It's honestly both, because that is king in my opinion, the evergreen content that you post, because you know 5, 10 years down the line, somebody could watch that video and like take something from it. But those like trendy videos that we might do, or that, maybe nobody in 5 years or 1 year is going to even rewatch it. Sometimes that video is more eye catching at that time and it brings in new people. So I
Yeah,
do stuff like
for
that.
sure.
I do both. You have to do both, I think, if
No,
you want to keep growing.
you got to have a balance. So that's good. That is what I kind of liked about you guys. Like a lot of people who they breed, but they also sell certain animals that they don't breed. They kind of get
Yeah.
lost in the wholesale or sale aspect. I've seen people switch from the passion to the business, and I like
Yeah.
that you keep a balance of both. Like you and the other, what's his name? The other homie you with?
Manny.
Manny, yeah. So like he's
Yeah.
always with the blue tongue skinks, right? So like
Yeah.
you breed in those, and you guys both do the other stuff. So you have passion projects that you still work on, but you also have a balance of other things to keep the business going and floating and stuff like that. So that is a key. I think a lot of people miss out is finding a balance. They try to focus too much on one or the other. So
Yeah, you know what? In the beginning, like years ago when I was younger, I had this goal in my mind that I was like, I want to be the biggest producer of crested geckos in the world. And then like pretty quickly I started to figure out like that would
yeah,
lose the fun of it. So I'm to the point that I'm just like, I'm a, don't get me wrong, I produce a lot, but
yeah,
not anywhere that I'm like, I know where every single gecko in my collection is. I know, I could tell you if you show me a picture of it, I could tell you exactly where it is. I could find it. So I didn't want to lose that. I like
yeah,
going to the gecko house, looking through my animals, and I feel like when you start to do it like to such a big scale, you know, it's just inevitable. You're going to have to do other things. Like you're not gonna be able to be as hands on. Even
yeah.
now, I'm not as hands on as I was, but it's just because we do this full time. So there's just so many things that entail like running this business. But
Hmm.
I still like every night go in the gecko house, or every other night go in there, take a look at geckos, weigh them, like look through stuff, and it's always been fun.
See, that's the beauty of it, man. I do that too all the time. But I was actually thinking the other night, I was like, how many breeders do you know really just go and sit down with a couple geckos and hang out with them? Because
Yeah,
there does become a like when you first start, you're like they're pets, you got them, they're cool. But as you start collecting and breeding, it's like a little less time with this one now because there's five more, and a little less time with that one now. There's 10
of
more. So
course.
you kind of got to balance out that time too to still be involved in your collection, know what the parents are producing and changing, and without those details, you're never really going to narrow down anything. You just kind of selling babies at that point. So it is
Yeah,
definitely every breeder needs that to just go in there, sit down with their geckos, and hang out, just watch them be goofy and shit, and do whatever.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
dude,
yeah.
your videos though lately, like you've always had good videos, but the last couple of videos, man, did you hire a team, a production team, or what? What's going on here, dude? Like the background, like the logo behind you. I don't know why it's been blowing my mind. I'm like, that's so cool. To the way you had it, like in the little aisle of the racks and stuff with your
Yeah,
logo behind you. Super dope to me. I know it's probably simple editing, but it made me watch the video again. I was like, nah, that little piece was dope. So
yeah.
what's up?
We so
What's up?
I do, like I said, I have a team. So I have a guy that films most of our videos, and like he does the editing and he films it, and it's just like night and day difference. Because in the beginning, obviously, I was recording, I was editing, I was doing everything.
Yeah.
And I tell, sometimes like us people that own their own business, like you want to do it, you want to have your hands on everything, you want to do everything, but you can't. You'll never be able to grow that way. You have to delegate things, especially
Mhm.
because there's no way me as a gecko breeder, marketer, salesman, all these things, I'm going to be as good as the guy that only focuses on making videos,
True.
right?
Yep.
And that guy, I could get that guy on my team, and he's going to take the YouTube to a new level. Like I remember
That's so dope.
when I started working with him, I was maybe like at 50,000 followers on our subscribers on YouTube. And then one of my big goals was like, because my YouTube was like on and off. I would make videos here and there because it was just so time consuming. But
Yeah, they
one of
are.
my goals one year was just like, I want to get to 100K. Like I'm gonna get 100K subscribers. So I did like everything. I started planning out my videos better. I hired a videographer, editor, and yeah, it's a night and day difference. I love them. Like I love the videos and stuff.
I
I
love
watch
them,
the
dude.
videos.
It's
So
cool when you got the multiple angles and you're like here and you're like talking over there. Like, yeah,
yeah,
that other stuff's cool. Like, it definitely makes the video more entertaining, even though we're gonna watch it anyway. But it definitely helps. So, been making some really
yeah,
cool
yeah.
videos lately. I'm gonna step it up soon. I'm just getting started, but
Thank
wait
you,
till
bro.
I
Yeah,
get
I
some
mean it's
production money, then I got you.
yeah. Bro, go look at some of my earlier videos and they're
Oh, I
just so
have.
cringe. It's so
But
hard.
it's like I said, when I first got into it, I had cresteds. I was into cresteds and Leo, so I did watch a lot of your stuff.
Oh, okay.
So I watched like old videos of you. I remember that's what I was saying. Like, oh, I remember when you were,
Yeah,
a little baldy back,
yeah.
a little baldy, tangerine, super hypo legit.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so I feel you. It's definitely come along with, but I've enjoyed that journey just as a viewer. That was pretty cool to see videos like that and watch them get better and better every time and not leave. Like it didn't disappear. You're still going, still kicking. So that's pretty cool. And that's kind of why I
Thank
was
you, man.
excited for you to get into Leos because you've done so much with Cresteds and Gargoyles. It's like, all right, what is this guy going to do with Leos now? That's interesting. Instead of like being a hater,
Yeah.
like, oh, another Leo breeder. No, I know I joked with you, like, get out of here because I'm a
Yeah,
smart.
yeah.
I was just joking with you, but it is dope to have somebody with your knowledge and attention to detail to be like, now he's stepping in here. So cool. What's he going to have in the next couple of years? What projects, is he going to bring to the table that can rejuvenate leopard geckos and stuff like that?
And
So
and look, I trust me, I get it. Look, I'm personally I know that some people might I'm not everybody's cup of tea. But when you have different people in the hot, like, right, I know when I started doing the leopard gecko YouTube videos, like just this year or earlier this year,
mhm.
there's only really like Frank that's doing them, and I don't think there's really anybody else that was doing them consistently. Now you're
Yeah,
hopping on now, Infamous is
Angel.
doing some. So like there's a little bit, I think that diversity helps
Mhm.
bring in new people because now you have maybe some of my gecko crested gecko people or gargle gecko people that may not be into leos, but then they start watching and they're like, you know what, that's pretty cool, I'm gonna get one. And then they start looking at different types, and just like me, I didn't get all my geckos from one person. I got them
Yeah,
from
no,
all
you got
sorts
a
of
good group.
people.
Yeah.
So, people will come in and they'll spread, and it's gonna help the hobby, I think, for sure. So
What's funny is I actually did want to highlight what you said there because I don't know if you know, a lot of people don't like to mention the F word, Frank. So I thought it
yeah,
was
I
very
know.
commendable that you did it in the video, that you shouted them out. Like I really like that because I myself am trying to build those bridges for the community instead of breaking them down. I'm trying to build those
Yeah.
bridges for everybody because it's all silly.
Look,
Everybody makes mistakes, does stuff. We all do things, whether we show it or not show it,
and
and we just got to
yeah,
work
and
together and move forward. So I thought it was
bro,
cool that
I
you
don't
mentioned
know.
him, and it was dope.
Bro, I Frank is a gentleman. He is a great. I've met him a couple times at the California show, and
Nice.
that guy couldn't be fucking nicer to me, dude. Like
That's
that
what I'm
guy
saying.
was
He's very honest.
so nice and supportive. And what like if you are a perfect human being that you've never made a mistake or you've never done anything wrong,
Hmm.
kudos to you, but I bet you don't exist. You know what
It
I'm
don't
saying? Like
exist. It don't exist.
everybody, every I don't know where this culture comes. It's look, don't get me started. I fucking hate the cancel culture shit.
Trust me,
Cause
I get it. I get it.
because there's like this like thought process that you can't, if you're in the public eye, you can't mess up or you can't do something wrong, and you can't redeem yourself.
Yeah,
No,
it's
dude, we're all
ridiculous.
people. We all make mistakes. And whether you think that person is bad or good, that's your opinion. So
Yeah.
the if I don't like anybody, you'll never hear me say it on YouTube or whatever. I'll tell you in person. Maybe I say, me, I don't like this person because this isn't that. But I'm not
Yeah.
gonna go and try to get him fired and try to get him to take away his
Yeah, yeah, just get
livelihood.
them shut down or canceled or ruin whatever they got going on. Because
Bro.
I always said that too. I'm like, is he affecting your sales? Are you not on the geckos the way he
Exactly.
keeps his geckos? Like,
And
just mind your business and stay what you're doing. He's gonna do what he's doing.
it's crabs
Granted,
in it's a crabs in a bucket mentality, brother.
that too, but he did put his foot in his mouth with a couple of things, which me and him talk. We're good friends, so he's aware of his mistakes, and so he is
Was
trying
it
to make some changes.
the lemon
It was multiple
thing?
things, like a lot of personal stuff with other people, and the lemon frost was a big part of
Yeah.
it. The husbandry,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
just things like that. But again, it's like you don't have to keep the way he keeps. Just keep the way you want to keep. You, you know,
yeah, yeah.
and, you don't have to
Look, I
commingle that.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm just diving again deep into the leopard geckos,
Oh
but
yeah,
I have never been anybody to look and search for drama. I'm searching for animals, information,
yeah. Yep, yep.
pictures, videos, but I'm not like looking, oh, who's good and who's bad, and I'm not looking for drama. So I
No,
have
and
no
that's what I
clue.
was saying. That's why I commend you for coming in because I'm like, you came in. I'm sure you were aware of Frank, so you
Oh,
shouting him out.
I'm very aware.
I was like, that was super fucking cool. I really like that. It made me respect you even more so. And it's just showing camaraderie within the hobby. And like, yeah, okay, you could say whatever you didn't like about the guy, but the geckos you showed, were they not healthy? Were they not big, beautiful? And he still got the end result that we all look for. You know what I mean? So a lot of people,
Yeah.
even the big breeders that we look up to, they got skeletons in their closet. So
Well, oh yeah, for sure.
oh yeah,
And look, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this real quick. If you, let's say you still don't agree with us, you still think Frank is a bad guy, you still hate how he keeps his animals or whatever,
that's fine.
then if you're, that's fine. But I'm saying, like, if you actually wanted to make a change, use your freaking logic and your mind. If you go out and tell somebody you're a piece of crap, you're the worst, that person's going to get defensive and is not going to lighten up. He's not going to do what you say. But if you come at it from a different point of view, hey, dude, I respect what you do. Have you ever thought that maybe this, that, and the other? Like, it's all how you say something. When
No,
you,
for
it's
sure.
like respect goes out the window. If somebody was, nobody would talk to you like that in person. They're all talking like that because it's online.
Mhm.
Nobody would go in person and say that to his face or my
What's
face
actually
or
funny
anybody.
is some of those people who did online go into his face and then shake his hand and be like, "It's nice to meet you." So you're 100% right. Yeah, and that's another reason why I liked you because I kind of watched like not navigate the gecko like crested gecko drama because I'm not totally involved in that at all, but I've seen the way you navigate some of those topics and kind of like move on. We're gonna get back to the gecko type stuff, and I've always liked that. So I'm like, we need more people like,
Yeah,
especially in the Leo hobby, just bringing that attitude of just like, dude, either be part of the group or don't. You know what I mean? Be friendly or
yeah,
just go sit in the corner, dude. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
cool. I didn't want to make this all about that, but I just wanted to acknowledge that that was a cool thing, especially for
yeah.
me. Like I said, I'm good friends with the guy. Just trying to help mend those bridges if I can with some people. Granted, like I said, he dug his grave with some stuff and he's climbing out, so that's cool. But speaking of husbandry, let's get on the yours. So
Let's
I
go.
saw you got mulch up in there, and to me that like
Yeah.
blew my mind, dude. So can you like tell us the pros and cons of keeping mulch with Leos? Because I
Yeah.
would think
So
it would have more cons than pros, but you say it works for you, so
yeah. So look, I've always kept my leopard geckos on mulch, partly because I keep a lot of stuff on mulch. Like
yeah, I noticed.
most
Yeah,
of my list, most of my stuff I keep on mulch just because it's such a cheap substrate
it
and
is.
it's
Yeah,
so accessible for me. And obviously I don't have like a couple little animals. I have a lot. So the mulch, I've never had a problem with leopard geckos. Um I see why it's completely different to what like most people will tell you or keep, but why I like mulch is because um like let's say some people that may use paper towels, like for example we use paper towels in our baby leos and stuff, so like if like the water bowl spills or it'll get nasty or moldy real quick and it'll it'll kind of like carry over to the whole substrate, if that makes any sense. But with mulch, like if water spills, it's not an issue whatsoever, and if anything, it'll help the humidity or whatever. But
Okay.
the only issue that I would kind of like see happen is if you feed like mostly crickets or something, and maybe the gecko grabs a piece of mulch. But from my experience, dude, these lizards are smarter than what we give them credit for. And as soon
That
as
is
they
true.
grab the mulch, even when they have a piece, when they have a insect in their mouth and mulch at the like they got a
Yep, yep,
mouthful or something,
they pop
they'll
it
kind
out.
of like eat it and then like spit it out to the side.
Yeah.
So yeah, and whenever when it comes to like the heat, I under the in the in the hides or in the backside where most of the heat is, I'll kind of like dig it out so it's not as thick of a layer.
Oh,
So
I
they
see what
do
you're saying.
have,
So they can get
you know,
closer.
because yeah, because if you put a really thick layer of mulch, then your thermostat might say 100 degrees and it'll be like 84 on the top of the mulch.
Yeah.
So that I kind of like dig it up a little bit or put less a thin layer of mulch in that area,
Okay.
and it's
Okay.
easy to clean. Like there's so many upsides.
Okay. Okay. Because I have so many concerns. Because I'm like, all right. So I'm gonna break it down. What about like you? Obviously, you have food bowls, so you're not tongue feeding everybody. The worms
No.
don't. They don't flip the bowl, and the worms get all in underneath the substrate and the mulch and gone. Because it happens even with paper towel. They'll be in the corner, but we can just put it back
Yeah, no,
together.
so I get these little bowls that are like the ones that have like the lid, the rim where they can't crawl out, like the
Yeah.
worms
Yeah.
can't crawl out. Those are the ones I use.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
exactly that. So they never flip them and they never really like they never really have an issue where we even feed crickets too. Like we feed a lot of crickets. We
Yeah.
feed crickets maybe once or twice a week for most of the stuff. And Leo's probably get crickets once a week and they eat them normal, no problem.
And you
They
haven't had
find them.
no issues with like geckos getting poked in the eye or
No,
trouble
bro.
shedding or something like a splinter maybe or the other thing
No.
was females when they lay like you have a lay box but sometimes females will lay outside the lay box so has that
Yeah.
happened a lot with the mulch or no?
No. So, so the mulch is not It's like it's not really humid. It's
Hmm.
not like wet or anything. So the most of the females are like they're like always in their humid hide where in their lay box. So I mean, I haven't been producing, like I said, I just started getting back into leopard geckos, but when I
Yeah,
had leopard geckos years ago, they would always lay in the lay box, no problem. Because the mulch is not, we wouldn't keep the mulch humid. We would just keep it, the humid high, the lay box humid,
yeah.
and we give them a water bowl. So we
Okay.
didn't really have issues with that. Now, could that happen? Like, for example, with my other geckos, we do have sometimes that, let's say, like a gecko spills the water bowl and then it's kind of like humid in that area where the mulch is next to the
Yeah.
water bowl. Sometimes I have like crested gecko females that will go under. Funny enough, because we have our lay box, and then next to the lay box is the food and the water bowl. So like they'll go under the lay box where like there's still humidity from that water bowl, and they'll put the eggs in there. But um,
Okay. Okay.
we don't keep like such a thick layer. Well, if it's like if that does start to happen, we have a very thin layer where we'd be able to see it, or we could just like lift up the tub and be able to see it from underneath. But that hasn't been an issue to this
Okay.
point.
Because yeah, even my concern with that, I was like, the mulch can stab the egg and pop it. Because even on the paper, like I use packing paper for my adults, and if they lay on
Yeah.
that, you would think like, oh, you just peel it off. But dude, once it sticks and dries up to that paper, even peeling the paper off, it'll rip the egg and it'll leak and stuff. So I could only imagine a hard piece of wood stabbing it. So I was like, I wonder what kind of production goes on. But that's pretty
Yeah,
cool,
no,
bro.
I've never had, and we breed a lot of different animals,
Ah,
and
you
they're
do.
all on mulch, and we've never had that issue particularly where the mulch pokes the egg.
Okay. This damn cameraman keep blurring me out. All right. Well, that's what's up, man. Because yeah, I was kind of curious about that, but it's pretty dope. Because yeah, everybody does
You
something
know,
different, and it
yeah,
works.
and look, let me ask you something, because
Absolutely.
I read somewhere that um I think it was from John's website, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, that people don't like to use sphagnum moss in their humid hides because the leopard geckos, some leopard geckos have been eating it, or have been found eating it, the sphagnum moss. Do you know anything about that? Have you heard of that?
Nah, I
I
mean, I can see it happening because sometimes they are little dorks, but not
Yeah,
really, not really, to
yeah,
be honest.
because yeah, I don't, and to be fair, wherever I saw that, it did address that it was just like a few leopard geckos that did that, and that was enough for them to not put sphagnum moss in their humid hides. But I use sphagnum moss for a lot of other things, so naturally I started using it for their humid hides,
Mm,
and I haven't seen anything weird. I haven't seen them poop it out or anything, so I
yeah.
don't think they're eating it at all.
I like it. I
Um,
like that better anyway because when I use the dirt and stuff, and you get the eggs, it
yeah,
keeps the dirt on them. But when you use the sphagnum moss, I
yeah,
noticed the eggs are a lot cleaner, and you can put them away to look a lot better. And I feel
yeah,
like the
yeah.
eggs still absorb that dirt some for some reason. Because I've seen people do you Sharpie yours too, like some people they put the
No,
Sharpie
I
on it.
don't.
Okay,
I
good. Because I
don't.
thought that would absorb into the egg. You know what I mean? The
Yeah,
Yeah. So I thought about that, but so
yeah.
yeah,
I've always
I actually
thought
like
that.
the sphagnum moss. I think it keeps them cleaner. It's a little bit easier for them to dig and softer for them to lay. So
Yeah.
I haven't had issues with it. I've used it before. It's not what I use currently, but I have used it before.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. All right, let's move it along here. We're getting up to that hour here. So I know you're still new, but you have been around for a while. Is there any breeders in the Leos that you like look up to in a sense? Could be for anything, like for the way they breed, for the way they keep, just whatever. Who's name at least two or three that you maybe look up to?
Um, breeders that I really respect, that I like how they do their thing, that I like their animals.
Hmm.
Well, John Gecko is one of them.
Yep.
Um, funny enough, we I did a podcast with him that will post probably in the next couple weeks. But
Oh, nice.
John's one of them. Brett, I like Brett's quality a lot, and I've
Which one?
known Brett Bayside.
Okay.
Um, one more. You know,
Wait, tell
I
us why you
like
like Brett. You said just his quality.
I like his quality, and I've never seen his setup or anything, but I've seen like
I've been
every
there.
time I go to the shows, I've every time I go to the shows, like his animals, like his overall, like what's the word I'm looking for? Just like
Aesthetic.
image, like brand
Yeah, the
image,
aesthetic.
and like how clean and like attention to detail he is on certain things. I really like that because I could only imagine if he's like that for his table, then his keeping must be even better, or just as good. And of course he has great quality animals. I really like a lot of the stuff he produces.
Yeah.
And then one last one, Glenview in
Yeah.
Arizona.
Yeah. Vinny.
I Yeah, I really like his white and yellows, man.
No,
I
he has some
really
nice
like his
color
white and
ranges.
yellows.
Yeah.
And I think like he mostly just does white and yellows, right?
I don't know the guy too well. I know his Angel's friend, and we were talking because he was asking. He's like, "Who has better white and yellows?" And I was trying to think. I'm like, "Damn, I really don't know." I was trying to like compete, but I was like, honestly, I don't know. Right now, he would be the number one for white and yellows that I can see for sure. He's got some
Yeah,
banging white
he
and
he has it's just I like when there's a breeder that specializes in like not just one animal, but like one species, but one morph in that species, and they're like
yellows.
super good at that. I really like that. I like your fucking the white and yellow that you had posted for the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah. Oh, appreciate
What
that.
it was, a white and yellow
Bell.
tramper, was it?
No, it was a
Oh,
Bell
Bell.
actually. The mom is from
Oh,
Bayside,
okay.
from Hell's Bells.
Oh,
So
sweet.
it was a Hell's Bells
Oh,
cross with
dude.
my Goya project with what I call it,
Yeah,
with the male I have.
bro. That white
Appreciate
and
that.
yellow was spectacular, bro. I was like,
Appreciate that.
damn. I knew that wasn't gonna be for sale. I didn't even bother asking, but
No, no, that
I
was
was
a
like,
whole thing. I guess
damn.
it's going back to mom next year for sure. See what
Yeah,
happens.
of course.
So yeah, I am trying to focus on white and yellow bells. So appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So we got who you look up to. Shit, what are you trying to bring to the hobby, man? What are you trying to bring to the game? You know what I mean? What do you want to be recognized for now that you're
Yeah.
stepping into here?
Honestly, I never I what I do want to do is bring in new people. That's when I started doing this, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna bring in new people because I'm like, I know how to, like the marketing side, I know how to do. I know
Yeah,
how to reach new people, so I'm gonna do that. But I was never like, I always thought like I'm gonna make what's already out there that's good. I'm gonna make more of that and possibly make it better. I'm not, especially at this point, thinking like, oh, I'm gonna make a new more for a new line or whatever. If I happen to produce something, down the line that's like just completely different, then I'll pursue that. But at this point, I'm trying to make just as high quality animals that I can. That's it. That and
yeah.
bring in new people. That's it.
Okay. No, so I think that's good. You definitely bring in a lot of people from shows to everything. The first time I met you was last year at Daytona. I don't know if you
Yeah,
remember that, but I just walked up,
of
said what's
course,
up, and left because
of
you're
course.
busy. And I was like, yeah, I ain't gonna waste your time, So you guys definitely do a lot of teaching, which is always great too. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah,
I think you'll have no problem with that for sure, especially into this. So that's what's up, man. Damn, so this is a pretty
yeah,
good
brother.
interview. I like it. I like it. You got anything else
Thanks,
you want
man.
to talk about? Because if not, we'll probably just wrap it up from here.
Um, yeah. What do you think about putting white and yellow to white and yellow?
Ooh. I think it's not a bad idea. I know a lot of people will scare you with white and yellow syndrome and stuff like that,
Yeah,
but um, if you do your research and go back to history of stuff, most of that came from like inbreeding white and yellow to get
yeah,
it out there. So with that inbred group, just like Black Knight stuff, it's going to have issues. Once you outcrossed it, it's not really an issue. You don't really hear about it too much. So white and yellow to white and yellow, I don't think is an issue as long as whatever you're doing is not super inbred or related to each other, because that's how the Goya male, that's the dad to the one that you said you like, his
yeah.
parents were white and yellow to white and yellow. Um,
I gotcha.
so it doesn't really cause an issue too much. Like I said, if you're not inbreeding it too much.
Oh.
So, but I like it. It makes them dope.
Yeah,
White and yellow to me is a cheat code. I love it.
I was told that there's certain lines that are more prone to producing it, and then there's certain lines that don't really produce the white and yellow syndrome.
I
Do
have
you
heard
know
that.
anything about?
No, I've
Yeah.
heard of that, but I kind of don't know anything about it because it's like which white and yellow line. There is no, for me, I don't know of any other line. It's just white and yellow. It's just a gene.
Oh,
So
yeah. No, what I meant like white and yellows that come from a particular breeder. I guess
yeah,
he outcrossed them more, and for whatever reason, those don't tend to have as many issues. That's what I was told. But and do you think that the white and yellow? Do you think it's an incomplete dominant with a super form, or do you think it's just a dominant
I think it's just
or
a
something
dominant.
else?
No, I think it's just dominant how it is now because, like I said, I've done white and yellow, and I've produced white and yellows from it, and they're not a super form. There's nothing really different except for the color's just going to be enhanced like what it does naturally when you cross it
Mm,
and stuff. So I think it was more so of like people, how like so when Eclipse came out, everybody was breeding to just single out Eclipse, the Eclipse gene or
yeah.
like the Tremper gene. They bred it to single it out. I think that's what was going on with white and yellow. They just kept breeding single gene white and yellow, and kept getting issues. But once white and yellow is like added to other stuff, like I said, it just kind of enhances whatever it's adding on to. But if you're breeding like a single gene white and yellow, I'm probably could get some issues running into that. But I don't think
Mm,
anything like outcross with white and yellow is really going to give you too much issue. Again, depending on how much inbreeding you did there. Like if you were doing it 5 seasons, you might run into some issues. But if you're like skipping a season, maybe running this one baby back to a grandfather later, it really shouldn't mess you up too much. I haven't had any issues
gotcha.
with it, but I'm only in my year 5, going in year 6 next season. So I'm still a little wet behind
Gotcha.
the ears, but I try to learn as much as I can and dig deep
Yeah.
into it. So if I do, I'll definitely let
Nice.
you know. But I haven't seen too much. But I would probably ask Vinny about that next time you talk to him for sure. See if he might know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've talked to him about it. I was just curious about what you thought.
Oh yeah, no, I do it
Yeah,
all the time. So
yeah. Okay.
that's it, man. Was there anything you want to tell the people?
Nothing much. I mean, if you guys like, check out our leopard geckos. We have a lot of nice stuff. Like Reese said, we have some YouTube videos on them, so check that out. Tiki's geckos, but that's it. Thanks for having me, bro.
Appreciate you joining us, man, for sure. I want to thank everybody who joined me today on the first episode with David. Shout out to all you guys. And we're going to be making more videos. We're going to have more interviews coming, different topics. Maybe me and you can collab on some gene video topics or something later on. But yeah, man, y'all have a good night. Appreciate y'all joining in on the Breeders Playbook. See you next time.
Sweet.